Okay, that looks right. Right. Okay, and this is, do I have it on the right one? 18 week, because today's Thursday. Okay, so welcome in everybody. Um, I probably will shortly from now switch off the YouTube stream because I just want to make some announcements, but we don't really the rest of the remaining class sessions, which there aren't very many of, um, are basically not going to run the way that the previous ones have, where I kind of have predetermined stuff to talk about. I come in, I share it with everyone. We're kind of in wrap up mode, right? We're sort of putting the remaining classes are just to wrap up the course, basically, at this point. So hopefully you're working on your completed project. Hopefully you've done the last bit of homework that needs to be done and those kinds of things. And then we're just wrapping things up, and then the course will be over. So, and let me see. I'll double check that this date is right. I'm not 100% sure if that date's right there, but let's see. So, in fact, let's check it. But before we do that, a couple things I just want to go into. You can see your homework is due soon. Make sure you get the homework completed. And then the cutoff for late homework will expire soon. So I know some people have been taking advantage of the fact that, and I mean in a good way, where when they get behind on a homework and they didn't get it finished in time, they're still going back, and the problems they didn't finish or the parts or the whole thing or whatever, they're still going back and using the fact that you can get half credit on old assignments by completing them. That's not the project-based assignments, but the my stat lab, my math lab homework that links to the StatCrunch and stuff. You can do that stuff after the due date for half credit. Some students don't like that because they're like, well, it's only half credit. But zeros are really, really bad. So if you can get half credit on a problem, that's going to hurt your grade a whole lot less than a zero on a problem or a whole assignment or whatever. So if you're in that situation, make use of it. But that's about to end too. That date is approaching where you can't work on the homework late anymore. The homework's going to be due. Your project needs to be completed, and I need the CSLO quiz turned in. So that because I have to report the numbers back on this quiz to the department has to report it back to the school, and the school has to hand it over to accreditation when they show up. So the stats department, we have to have all these quizzes ready to go. So you just need to be wrapping those things up and getting that completed. Let me check the dates here. I just want to make sure that I've got the dates right. Academic calendar. Finals week. I think it is right because my two of my classes have, I know, finals late. So let's see, in the week that is. So we are a Tuesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. So yeah, the 14th at 10 a.m. So that is when it's due. Okay, so this is right when it says December 14th. Let me just double check that I've got the time right. Yep, December 14th at 10 a.m. So please remember, I cannot accept anything after that time. If I do, we start getting into weird scenarios where people can get in trouble, including me, can get in trouble because I'm breaking school policy if I take stuff after that time and date. So, except under very special circumstances that I've already discussed in the class. So please don't get it in late. I don't want to give you a 0 because you couldn't get your assignment in, right? I'd rather you give me your video, I watch it, I grade it, I give you a grade, hopefully a passing grade. And then we all can move on, right? We all can go to the next stage of things. So that's what I would prefer. So please don't wait till the last minute. Please don't have some kind of issue turning it in. I don't want to tell someone, sorry, you get a 0 on your project. So please just get it in on time. Please get all that taken care of. Make sure you've done these. I'll be wrapping up scores and grades and all that kind of stuff in the next week. I'm going to be super busy because I've got, for some classes, they're still going on next week. But then on top of that, I'm also starting to grade things and stuff like that. Oh, do be aware. Let's check that calendar again. Remember, if you turn your project in by, where's the instructional calendar? The 8th, you get bonus credit. So if you turn your project in by the 8th, you'll get an extra 10% on that project. Now, again, if your project isn't good, don't turn it in to get an extra 10% because it isn't going to help very much. So, 40% plus 10% is still only 50%. So don't rush to get your project in if you're not ready to turn it in. Just go, well, I didn't get the bonus. That's okay. I'm still going to do a good job on my project. That's the better strategy than turning in a bad project to get the extra 10%. Okay? 10% is not a ton. It's nice, but if you're not ready, don't try to take advantage of that 10%. You're actually going to end up hurting yourself in the process. But when I watch your video, if it's dated December 8th or sooner, you get an extra 10% on that grade there. Okay? Partly it's just an incentive because the sooner those videos are turned in, the sooner I can start watching them, because I'm going to have a stretch here where my life is basically watching statistics videos. And many of you make fantastic videos, but you could imagine after you've watched 30 to 40 statistics videos end to end, your mind needs a break. So if I can start watching them sooner and getting them graded, I don't have to watch quite as many each day, which sort of is good for my mental health, right? Again, some of your videos are very enjoying to watch, but you could imagine by hour 7 or 8 in the same day, it starts to get a bit much. You need a break from it. So if you can turn your videos in on the 8th or sooner, you get a bonus so that I can start grading those and get everything ready so that I can just submit your final grades as soon as I have all the projects for a class submitted. I can submit. That helps if I have half the projects already graded by the due date, the actual real due date, and then I can watch the other half, get everything submitted. It just sort of streamlines the process. So the 8th or sooner, you'll get a bonus to your grade. You want to have all the homework turned in. Let's go back to the module, all this stuff. So just kind of pay attention to those due dates, see what's going on with that stuff, and we can look at it. Please make sure you take this quiz, right? Remember, it says 3 points here, but that's because I didn't design the quiz. The quiz was designed and then it was mailed to all of us stats teachers, and then we just insert it here. This grade will be scaled to be more like 30 points, and it is project points, meaning that's great for you, right? It's kind of like these discussion boards where it was pretty easy points towards the project. Well, you get some other, not quite as easy, because it is possible that you can miss these problems, but you shouldn't really be missing those problems because we talked about them last time. And also there's some I would say they're pretty basic parts of the course. So we covered it earlier in the semester. We just covered it the other day. So take your time, make sure you're ready. Talk to me first if you need to, in office hours or something. Come chat with me. If you're not sure about some of those questions, I can tell you, and then you can go take the quiz, right? I mean, I can't just do the quiz for you or tell you exactly how to do it, but I can help you with those concepts so that you can get a proper grade on here. And then that's like 30 points of your project that are, essentially that section will be 100% because you're getting 30 out of 30 on that slice of the project, which is helpful, right? It brings up your grade a little bit. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're getting the homework in. All those things. Yeah, those dates all look right to me. And then, it's just a matter of finishing strong, right? Doing what you think you need to do so that you get that homework done. You get that quiz score taken care of. You do a good job on the project. I've talked about the project at length, so anything I say again will really just be repeating myself. A couple of the main things, everyone has to do their own project, but I put you in groups, or you put yourselves in groups at the beginning of the semester so that hopefully you have someone in the class that you're kind of working with, and you can ask them questions, and you can show each other what you've been working on and what you've been doing to help both of you get through the course a little bit easier and with maybe a little bit higher grade, all that kind of stuff. The video, your project video obviously needs to be a video. I still occasionally get a student who turns me in like a bunch of like papers or PowerPoint or some kind of weird thing. That's not the assignment. If you're having issues with the technology, don't sweat it. Just do the best job you can. You can use your phone using the video camera on any semi-modern phone. And I don't even mean you have to have the latest iPhone. If you have an iPhone that's, from 3 or 4 generations ago, it'll be fine, right? You do try to make sure you have good light. If you're going to film using your phone, try to light the area if you can help it. Because one things about modern cameras is that you can get an iPhone. It's like, oh, it's got like crazy HD settings and everything. But all of these phones and Sony cameras and all of them, even the good stuff, you try filming in low light and your resolution just goes to the floor, right? It's the whole potato comparison. Yeah, your phone basically turns into a potato in low light. All the stuff that you're seeing that looks so amazing coming out of modern phones was lighted by people who knew what they were doing. So, that doesn't mean that you have to know a lot about lighting if you're going to record things by hand, but just light everything up. Get a lamp, turn the lights on in the room. If you have, drag a lamp in from the other room to light your desk up better if you need to, whatever you need to do. It's going to make the whole thing come out a lot better. If you're doing your graphics by hand, which I don't recommend, but there's always a couple students who do it, take your time and do it right. Like, do a good job on it. It needs to look good. If it looks like, it was just kind of thrown together and your lines aren't straight, it's not going to be very good. So I do recommend have StatCrunch do it for you, right? Just go in there, StatCrunch, play around with the settings till you have one you think is good, print it off or export the file, save it. There's numerous different ways of doing all this stuff, and then do it however you want. Question comes up about PowerPoints. Your project is not a PowerPoint, but you can use a PowerPoint in your project. Okay, you have to turn in a video to me, but yes, it's perfectly fine if you have a PowerPoint on your screen that you're video capturing and talking about it, and all your images and blurbs and everything that you want to put in there are in a PowerPoint. Fine, that works. I'm pretty open about this because, again, I know not all of you have taken video editing classes, and you don't all have the software for outstanding video editing, and you're not going to make the next big movie trailer for Marvel movies coming out like that. Like, many of you don't have the skills for doing that. That's totally fine. But you have to come up with some kind of a way where you're putting this video together. Make sure the video format, the way you present it to me, is readable. So like it's a normal format. It's not some proprietary format where I need Adobe in order to read it or something like that. Make sure it's like a normal files type that gets handed around. So best way to do it, just post it on YouTube. Make sure it's not set to private. Send me a link. Boom. And then once it's graded, you can delete it off of YouTube, whatever you want to do. It's not going to go viral. Half the country isn't going to be watching your stats video, so you don't really need to worry about it. When students do that, it's literally like one view because the student probably watched it themselves after they submitted it to make sure everything looked right. And then like I'm usually the second view when I'm watching it, and then boom, I don't know what happens later, but I imagine the student eventually takes it down or sets it to private or something like that. So, yeah. So that's kind of the overview of things that you need to keep track of. So the way we're going to do things today, and then we still have class on Tuesday, right? Yeah. Basically, I'll probably do this again where on Tuesday I'll open up the YouTube stream for a few minutes just to make sure those announcements are out there, because there's actually a significant portion of the class who watches the videos later. We have more people watching the video time shifted than we have that watch it live. Which is kind of a thing that we're seeing a lot of during the pandemic. And since I don't take roll during class, that's kind of an acceptable way to do it. I know some people are at work right now, and then they come home and then they'll watch the class. I don't have a problem with that, but so that's fine. So I'll do the same thing on Tuesday, I think, where I start off with the YouTube stream, but then we're going to get to a point where there's not much else to say. So if anyone who's on the YouTube stream wants to ask a question, feel free to throw it into chat there, and I'll see if I can answer it. But I think that's kind of how the rest of today and most of Tuesday is going to go. which is I'm basically here to answer your questions. So it's a little different than the previous classes where it's like I'm dumping all this information on you that you need in order to stay current with the material in the course. We're kind of past that. You've been given all the information. So I'll give you a brief reminder at the beginning of Tuesday. But what I'll do here in a few minutes, I'll turn off the YouTube stream, and then I will leave the Zoom meeting open, and anyone who wants to come in there and talk to me about anything related to this class, you're welcome to do so. So if you have homework problems you want to talk to me about, come talk to me. If you have project questions you want to ask me, come ask me. Let's talk about your project. Let's see if I can help you figure a few things out or make you a little more confident because you're not really sure about how to do certain parts, stuff like that. Then come talk to me. Okay, so there's a question here. When is the last day to turn in assignments? So those, I forget how it looks for you students, but so this is my teacher view, but you can see the due dates that are on there, and the due dates should all be listed. So any Canvas assignment, it should indicate the due date. Any my math lab assignment, my stat lab assignments, those should have due dates on them. So the normal homework, it looks like the last day to turn that stuff in is December 7th. Should be for any homework in the class. Most of it's already been due, right? Yeah. So the last of my stat lab assignments are due December 7th. You've got your last discussion involving the project, which is due December 7th. You've got the CSLO quiz that I need to make sure everybody takes. That's due December 5th. And then your actual project, the completed project that you turn in, you have until 10 a.m. on December 14th. But don't take until 10:01. It'll cut you off and it won't let you turn it in, right? And then I can't have stuff turned in after that because then it's breaking school policy. So make sure it's in 10 a.m. December 14th. So those are for late assignments? Oh, okay. So the late assignments, I think, are December 7th as well. I think it's the same cutoff, this December 7th cutoff, because I try not to have too many assignments due during finals week, because during finals week, I have to start prepping the grade book. I have to go through to each class, and I have to get each grade book as caught up as much as I possibly can so that as soon as your projects are graded, I can just submit grades. Like, I don't have to then spend half a day doing calculations. It's all ready to go. All I have to do is enter your scores, boom, and then I go over and I submit grades for your class. So I believe that the late homework is probably due December 7th. It's possible it's due December 8th. But I'm pretty sure it's due December 7th for late homework. Yeah, so that's a great question because I forgot to mention that. So thanks for asking that. Late homework, I would say plan on it being due December 7th because I think that's what it is. Yeah, great. Good question. I'm glad you asked that. Any other questions that people need answered about stuff? Now's the time. Throw it up there into chat. Otherwise, I'm going to switch over to Zoom here in a few minutes. No. Not seeing anything. Okay, well, the Zoom meeting will be open for the remainder of class, right? Class goes today till 8:50. That Zoom meeting will be open. You want to come talk to me about anything? Come talk to me about anything. I mean, obviously appropriately school related, but any of it. You're stuck on a type of problem in the homework? Come talk to me about it. We'll take a look at it. Do remember on the homeworks though, and you're welcome to come talk to me, but there is those buttons at the bottom. You want to make sure you're exploring those because a lot of the questions I'm getting from students are they don't know how to do stuff in StatCrunch, but that little button down at the bottom that says, I think it says get more help, and when you click it, it says tech help. If you click tech help, it tells you what to do in StatCrunch. So if you click that, and I've a couple of times this week, I've shown students that and they go, oh, I didn't even know that was there. So make sure you're using that. Also, you can just Google or on YouTube search for StatCrunch regression, and then you'll get a video that shows you exactly how to do it. Okay. So with that, it looks like maybe there's no more questions. I'm going to shut down the YouTube stream, but I'm here in Zoom. I want to help you with whatever you need help with, because now there's time for me to give you meaningful help, right? To be able to help you kind of plan things out over the next, week plus, week and a half, whatever it is. I guess 2 weeks almost till the completed project is due. But I get a whole lot harder to get a hold of during finals week because we don't have these regular meetings, don't have office hours, stuff like that. So it's significantly harder for me to coordinate a discussion with you if you need help with something. So today and Tuesday, have your questions ready. Come talk to me. Like, work on your project. Start your project, and you're probably going to hit some points where you're like, oh, I'm not sure what he wants here, or I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. If you've worked on your project over the weekend and then you've built up 3, 4, 5 questions, you can ask me on Tuesday and I can help you out with all that kind of stuff. But if you wait until the 10th to start working on your project and then you have questions, we may not be able to get a hold of each other and sort of meet up in Zoom where I can answer your questions properly. So that you can fix those things for the project. I can try to answer questions in email, but sometimes students will ask me a question in email that is just a huge question. Like, I'll get a question that's like, I'm confused about confidence intervals. Like, that's the whole email. I'm confused about confidence intervals. Well, that's a whole chapter, and it's like a major topic from the class. So if your question is, I'm having trouble with confidence intervals, I can't really answer that in an email, because how am I supposed to teach an entire chapter and answer your questions in an email? It doesn't really work. But if we talk face to face, I can figure out, okay, what is it about confidence intervals you're confused about? Oh, that's okay. Let's address that issue you're having. But kind of has to be question driven. You kind of have to have a question for me, a detailed question, and then I can answer it. Okay, so that's my recommendation is for those of you who have already been working on the project, great job. Feel free to hop into Zoom and ask me any questions, even if they're silly or you're like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's office hours, or actually, this is actually class time. Come ask me. I'll help you. You don't have to feel intimidated or like you shouldn't answer the question. Just come ask me a question. I'll help you, and then you'll get a little bit better score on your project because you'll do it a little bit better because you got that question answered. So that's what I highly recommend. If you're someone who's really wanting to do well in this class, start organizing stuff. I'm not saying you have to do the whole project this weekend. Wouldn't be a bad idea if you could pull that off. If your life allows you to put that project together this weekend, go for it. But try to work on that. Start putting things together. Bring me your questions Tuesday during class, and I'll help you out with that. Plus the office hours next week. Monday and Tuesday we'll have office hours next week, and you can come to those as well. Okay? So with that said, I'm shutting down the YouTube stream. Please hop over into Zoom and ask me any questions that you have. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.